Hello everybody, my name is Kenneth and welcome to or back to my YouTube channel. In today's video we are going to be checking out I-DLE's newest release, Revenge. Just so you all know, I have already heard Wife and Super Lady. I listened to those in my own time and I really enjoyed them. But I really wanted to react to Revenge because I'd seen on TikTok a little text post that suggested that this song deals with quite serious themes. Obviously with a title like Revenge, you kind of get one of the themes kind of spelled out to you. But yeah, this TikTok I didn't read fully, but I did see almost like a trigger warning for the song kind of thing. So I'm going to be very intrigued by that. Just before we get into this music video, I do pause a lot. This isn't going to be just a case of me sitting and bobbing my head for 3 minutes and 18 seconds. Yes, I did just check the video length there. So if that's not your kind of thing, I completely understand. Please go find reactors that do not pause or pause in the way that you enjoy. But I will be pausing. So without any further ado, let's get into I-DLE's Revenge, the official music video. I love already the grungy kind of coloring on the video. Last Easter night. Oh. Well, that's an interesting way to spend Easter. Interesting, like harpsichord sound with some effects on it, maybe. It is a little bit loud though, so I'm sorry, but I'm gonna turn this down for me. Sorry, it was very loud in my ears. Already we've got very sexy, sultry kind of vibes, but lyrically, we've got this lyric kind of thing from Minnie. It starts off very conversational, say hi, how are you, and then say hi, no. Interesting start. I love that little I love these like scene pieces. It's almost giving like a kind of film noir-esque in terms of the music video. It's kind of giving that film noir vibe. I just want to go back because we started off with this very simple kind of beginning in terms of lyric, but we immediately got into this idea of black smoke, and I saw something about a fall. As I said, I do pause a lot, I'm sorry. Yeah. Mion with that red hair. It works so well. Ooh. The guitar is giving, there's a song in my head, the guitar is, the guitar riff reminds me of, what is the song? It's giving me, it sounds, so the guitar riff sounds a little bit like, Demi Lovato's Cool for the Summer, that doom, 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 doom. It's not exactly like one to one, but it sounds very similar. It's very interesting. It sounds really good though. I'm not comparing or anything. I love the idea of Uki being a widow, a black widow kind of character. I love the idea of like being so obsessed with someone that, maybe for whatever reason you can't forgive this person, but the idea that you're so obsessed with them and want their downfall that it's like your every waking thought, and it's in this they're described as a scar, but it's really interesting. The cinematography throughout this is amazing. I like the idea as well that they're assassins in this. That line there about "you need damage, I'll destroy it," it sounds like lyrically, to me it sounds like they're intentionally changing the word leverage to damage, because obviously when you cause someone's fall or something like that, you often you can use things to damage their reputation. So it's interesting the very intentional change to the word damage. You need damage, I'll destroy it. In that lyric, because it's that kind of thing of your intentions are obvious, and I'm aware of your intentions, so I'm going to almost be a step ahead and get rid of whatever you think you have on me. I like the idea that obviously this person that they're referring to them is very very bad, evil, and I like the idea that the only escape for this person is to go to hell, but even that's not going to be enough. I really like this. Oh. Oh. I'm sorry. I need to go back because that, for a start, I didn't realize we were gonna get that music video cut out. The music cut out in the video, sorry. But this changed to the POV kind of shot. And here I'm just it obviously viewer discretion, but it's such a horrible scene to go through kind of this. And then I'm not gonna lie, I love Uki coming in and just whacking this person with a guitar. I haven't mentioned it, but it's been on my mind this entire time. I really love the outfit that Soyeon is wearing. I like all of the outfits, but all of the outfits seem to have very specific purposes. In the music video, you've got obviously women in almost all levels of power, because you've got almost the police officer, you've got the kind of in Mion you've got the police officer, in Soyeon you've got the maid, in Shua you've got that kind of I mean, that's just a really horrible shot to get, to have in your mind, anyone getting in that kind of situation. But in Shua, you've got this almost pure bride kind of character. Minnie, you had a very sultry lounge singer-esque kind of outfit, and Uki, you had almost this rock star, maybe Marilyn Monroe kind of vibe. Obviously, within the song's context, they all seem to be working together as an assassin group. Um, but it's just very interesting how the disguises perhaps that each are using within these scenes. Um, I think this is it's a very deep music video in terms of domestic abuse, which is obviously what's going on here. I know I've paused and we will get back to the song, but I think it's important to talk about domestic abuse and domestic violence because it is a case of, obviously in this fictionalized version, it's almost been set up to kind of be the almost kind of almost like a bait situation where maybe these characters knew this was going to happen again, because unfortunately when you're in that cycle of abuse, it is a cycle, and no matter how many times the person says, "I'm sorry, I won't do it again," often until you are able to get out of that situation, that cycle will just keep perpetuating itself, and it's not the victim's fault. In those situations, the abuser has all of the cards. They control all the money. They control all of, even the victim's actions themselves. And so with this music video, I really, really like the way that the girls have each other's backs. Obviously, I'm not surprised at that. Heaven forbid that ever happened in real life to any of the members, but I feel like you could count on the other members to immediately jump into action and do whatever was necessary to protect to protect one another from that kind of situation and get them out of that situation. Obviously, in reality, that isn't always the case. That is a possibility to for one to happen. Often that's why abusers have so much power, because the victim unfortunately has no one to reach out to. What I do like about this scene, other than its kind of awareness raising kind of scene purpose, I like the fact that there is, in the way that this is shot to me, it's almost like Shua has a hand in her escape from this situation. And because you've got her, first of all, fighting back, which is incredibly difficult to do in these situations. But there's just the fact that they're all together. It suggests that she had the strength and the courage to reach out to her, to these other characters. I'm going to separate them from the members, because characters and members, as I said, I hope this isn't happening or hasn't happened in real life to any of the members. I wish I could say to anyone, but obviously that's not the case. But just in kind of the context of this music video, I hope it's not happened to any of the members, and that's why I'm kind of separating them, characters versus the real life members. But it's almost like in this, that she's reached out to these other characters and she's had a hand in setting up this kind of bait to avenge her, which is a really nice thing. Obviously, not everyone in this situation can get out, not everyone in the situation can fight back and defend themselves, but it does give that kind of little bit of hope, that you're not on your own, that there are people to reach out to. I will put links in the description to domestic violence charities. I'll try and see if there are any international ones that you can reach out to online and stuff. But yeah, it's not a great situation to be in, and this is one of the reasons that I really love I-DLE as a group. They have their kind of bop music, if you know what I mean, but their music at the same time has this deeper meaning. Like, for instance, even things like Queen Card and Wife, they all sound, on the surface level, very one way, like, oh, this is just an easy listening do dancey song. But then you listen to the lyrics, and it's what I love about them so much, is that they do go deeper into different themes and topics, and they do it so cleverly. Like, for instance, Wife, with the use of the way that the English dialogue is English lyrics are written. It's a brilliant way of making a point about how society often sees women. But again, a lot of people have shot it down as just, oh, it's bad English. And again, with this song, I'm glad that they're taking what is such a horrific thing in our society and basically just discussing it and sharing it and raising awareness. And again, giving that little bit of hope that if you are able to reach out, to do so, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I have talked about this for a long time, and I'm really sorry. I know people often are like, don't talk too long, but I think with a subject like this, I would be remiss if I didn't. So yeah, thank you for listening to this, and thank you to I-DLE, thank you to Soyeon, thank you to everyone who worked on this song. Amazing. Amazing use of a platform. But we're going to carry on now. I like the way that the song is lyrically changed as well, to more of an empowering kind of vibe. I love that line. I love that. I just want to talk about really quickly, before we do a second watch through, I really want to talk about the use of fire in this music video. Fire is a very cathartic element in that it is very reminiscent of passion, but also there is an element with it of finality. Obviously, fire is very destructive, and so I really like the way that they're using fire in here, almost as kind of a way of forcibly closing the door on a chapter, and it's almost like a rebirth as well. For the characters. Another thing I wanted to mention is I like the fact that Shua's clothes here, they're not, and actually her entire kind of makeup isn't or hasn't been tainted by the revenge scene, shall we say. I think it's very important for that, because obviously without the context, you could say, oh, this person was murdered, and you could use the kind of tainting the blood on the clothes or something like that to kind of symbolize that loss of innocence, and even referencing the idea that Shua was evil for this. But I like the fact that because of the nature of this music video, they and obviously the purpose of that scene, her clothes are completely clean, and her makeup is exactly as it should be, and would have been normally, because to me it really signifies the fact that she is a victim and that she has done nothing wrong. In the situation, and in the scene, it was all about getting out and freeing herself. And so I really, I might be reading into it a little bit too much there, maybe, but that's what I kind of see from it. But I really, really like that touch, if it is actually a touch. I like as well the way it's such a simple line, I got the revenge, but I like the way it ends it because it's almost like a kind of final say, like a final last word, like I had the last word. And the power within that is so very strong that you're kind of like, yes, you know, you're really rooting, for them. Obviously, you're rooting for them throughout, but it's that kind of thing of you're rooting for them in this kind of rebirth to kind of move on and kind of be everything that they should be and want to be. But yeah, I really, really like this. I love that shot there at the end here because just purely for the fact that they're almost judging, and I hope I'm getting that right when I say they're judging, because it's almost like they're looking at us as like the viewer watching. It's kind of like, you've really let this happen. You're really letting this happen. Again, so many people go through situations of domestic abuse and domestic violence, and it's a very real thing, the bystander effect. You know, you might hear yelling, you might hear shouting, you might even hear plates crashing, doors slamming and stuff. And the bystander effect is really very real. Of you hear all that and you kind of go, someone else will deal with it, someone else will go around, someone else will check on them, someone, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of people do that. And when everyone around you does that, or around the person does that, unfortunately, that person has no one to go, you know, ask for help with, because it's kind of like this, they've just almost washed their hands on it. And so I really like this. I really like this shot because while yes, it looks very empowering and they're very strong, and they are very strong women, just the way that, for instance, Mion is sat cross-armed, and the way that Uki has her arm around Shua, and just the kind of stares that they have, it's almost like, you really let this happen, you really let it get this far. And it's not to the victims, it's not to the character that Shua is playing, it's to all those people that see that happening or hear something happening and just go, someone else will deal with it, someone else will deal with, you know, it's not my place. Which is to me a very, very horrible take. The people I'm talking about, the people that do that, it's very sad that people do that. But yeah, I really like this. We are going to watch through again just in case I missed anything else. But this music video, not to downplay how Wife and Super Lady were, because they were both great songs and I really liked both of them. I personally would have loved to have seen this as the title track. I'm glad it's a single, but I would have liked to have seen it as a title track release, just purely because of the message it has out of the three songs. And again, that's not to downplay the other two songs. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think having this be the face of the second album, I think would have worked better in terms of the point of this song, and what the song is trying to expose in society and raise awareness of. I think if it had been released as a title track, which I think it's strong enough to be a title track, I think it would have done that even more brilliantly than it's probably going to do now. Obviously, I don't know the reasons why they released it in this way, but that's just my opinion. Again, not to downplay Wife and its meanings, and not to downplay Super Lady and its meanings, because again, those two are very important songs as well for the themes that they're talking about. But yeah, we're going to watch it through one last time just to see if I can pick up anything else. I didn't even notice the little blood on her lip. And even like the makeup at this point, it's very pale. And it definitely kind of goes into that almost feeling of losing yourself. I've heard some people say regarding this scene and this particular character that this is meant to represent Sujin. I don't know how I feel about that particular interpretation. I'll be very honest. When I discovered G-Idle, it was after Sujin had left the group. But I like to think if it is that particular purpose, I like to think of that as a very heartwarming thing of keeping Sujin in the group and in the group spirit. I love these shots here, the way that it flickers between the different keyholes. Is a very clever use, especially with those fingerprints on this particular one. But it's a very good way of first introducing the different characters within the music video, as in the main leads. But it's also very clever in that it's this idea of you don't see things that are happening behind the scenes, behind the keyhole, behind the door. You don't see what's in people's personal lives. And it's very intriguing. And even just this shot, and I didn't realize it before, but the way that Shure is bandaged up. I didn't see that the first time because it kind of goes back really, really quickly. In here, it sets her up as this kind of portrayal of the kind of victim character. You know, she's got her entire head apart from one eye bandaged, which is a horrific image in itself. Because you don't want to think of anyone going through that, and especially when you add the additional thought of kind of what one must have gone through to have been injured in that way. Obviously the room's on fire, and you can say, oh, it's the result of the fire, but I think it is hinting at that kind of serious long-term abuse with the kind of POV character we see later on. I like this the bass line in this. Dun, 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 dun. It's very it's a bass line that wouldn't be amiss in a high fashion concept, in that it, especially with the way that Minnie is introduced in this music video, it wouldn't be amiss in that kind of runway strut walking kind of segment. And I like the way that it's very the accompaniment is very minimal, to allow kind of the lyrical focus. I really like that outfit. there is also that kind of connotation of the mistress aspect, which I think in this music video has been kind of subverted by the group, because you have that kind of scene where Soyeon is adjusting her leggings tights, and kind of the pose that she does is that kind of thing of that kind of pose of maybe a sexy mistress, and I like the purpose of that for this music video, of that kind of turning it on its head. The interesting thing about this scene, with the kind of lie detector, the thing that I choose to kind of glean from this is that idea of you maybe tell your close friends, and I'm not saying that women only have female friends, but you tell your friends and they don't believe you. And in this case, it's almost like that metaphor of testing Minnie's character to see if she actually is telling the truth in this situation. I think it's also interesting that go and escape to hell line, with the use of the bomb and the fire. I think those are very clever associations, because obviously they're saying, you can go to hell and I'll still find you. And obviously the bomb in the beginning, as well as setting fire to the room, is very much that mirror image. Here, I don't... It's interesting, this shot here. It's almost like Uki's character has also had dealings with this situation, or maybe even with this specific character. Obviously you have Minnie running away, and then you have this character and this character. I don't know, I don't know. So it seems that this character is not part of the group that deal with the abuser. And this person almost seems like they're that very straightforward kind of person in society that's like, you set fire to a room, you blew up a room, that's bad, without looking into the reasons and the why and the how that it came about. And so it feels like it's interesting. Obviously we saw Mion in the interrogation room, but yet this character seems, I don't know, different. I like that thing as well, that thing there that was just said, that like, for them, even if their reputation is ruined, obviously the fallout from blowing up a room or setting fire to a room would have negative social consequences for them. But even in that situation, they care about getting revenge on this person, more, and it's almost like it's almost like having that societal kind of negative perception is almost the point, because it shows that they've done it, that they've been successful. Again, this scene, it's very tastefully done. Obviously, they don't shy around the violent side of things, but I think it's very tastefully done. And it's a POV shot. You don't see who is doing it, so it's very much that image of anyone can be in the situation, both as the victim and as the abuser. And it makes its point without getting too graphic, which I think is important. Again, I love the fact that the girls have each other's backs in this. It's also interesting they talk about, because at the beginning obviously it was set at last Easter night, and obviously in the lyrics they say last Easter night here. I don't know what the significance is, but there is a very that I see a very interesting religious subversion, because obviously the kind of Easter time is when, at least in Christianity and other Christian religions, obviously Easter is when Jesus kind of resurrects and comes out of the tomb. Whereas here it's a very interesting subversion that their rebirth is the exact opposite of that. It's almost going back into the tomb and staying there and closing over the rock and hiding, but they're not hiding in this situation. I don't know if I'm reading too much into that, probably am, but that's just what I think. I love as well, apart from I think the end, all of the shots that say I got the revenge lyric, they all focus on Shua. I think, apart from the last one, which I think is Soyeon, all of the other ones are Shua, and I think that's a great, real hitting home, like final point of like, this is a person who is not going to be victimized anymore, who's found her strength, who's found her support system, her sisterhood, and is not taking any more. And again, as I've said, to get to that place is a very, very, very long road and very, very hard to do, especially in this society where, especially if you're a woman, it's very much, oh, are you sure you're not making it up? Oh, I met him and he was a great guy, and so on and so forth. But I like that those shots are given to Shua, because I think it does, it's not just saying it's her line necessarily in the song, but it is saying that kind of thing of, I got my power back. I love it. I really, really like it. I just realized I didn't. Oh. I just assumed that this would have like just the Cube Entertainment part, but I'm really glad I listened. I not listened. I carried on playing. I really like this unwrapping, because it's almost like that metaphor of being tangled up in something, coupled with, and I really hope that this is a meaning, but coupled with this healing aspect of it, because again, when you bandage something up, you've been very seriously injured, and you have that kind of process of recovery and healing, and at least you're not supposed to remove a bandage until you're fully healed. And so I'm hoping that that's what that kind of represents. It also could could refer to again the kind of rebirth and coming out of your shell, and standing up for yourself. But I think maybe the first two meanings are maybe more what was intended. I'm not sure. But yeah, I really liked this music video. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Again, I think this could have been a really good title track. Again, not to disparage Wife and Super Lady. I think those two songs are great, and I think they've received far too much criticism around them, both the production and video and stuff for both songs. But I do think that had they decided to make this as a title song instead of just a single, I think the impact that this would have had would have been as shattering as kind of Nude was, and also how impactful Queen Card was. I think this was a great song. Good message. But then I'm not surprised. It is I-DLE. And I like the fact that they're not afraid to take these somewhat taboo, topics. You can look at Wife and you can look at Super Lady, and you can see how they deal with the taboo of infantilizing women, and how women are treated, but also giving women power through Super Lady. I think this would have been a really interesting title track to have released first. But I really enjoyed that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me your comments in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone. Bye.